S in Advanced Visual Frameworks, term 1507. This is week 3. So I'm just going to dive right in. First and foremost, I chose to keep it really simple this week. I've had a lot of issues over the past few weeks as far as minor coding issues, little issues with syntax, and a lot of issues with getting my emulators running, and I still can't get my iPad to connect, which I'll show you that error when I go ahead and try to run the application. So this is my app statement. So basically, I myself like to travel a lot. I do a lot of driving. I'm actually in the middle of a move from Massachusetts to Las Vegas right now. So I thought this would be a pretty useful application, especially if you're along some desolate road and getting low on gas and you're really not sure how long it's going to be and if you're going to make it. So right here we start. First thing we're going to try to do is log into the cloud. It's just going to be on the Accelerator splash page. If we can't log into the cloud, an alert will be displayed letting you know there was an error logging in, as well as the error details. If we can log into the cloud, we'll go down to our location services. The user will be asked if we can have access to the location services and have the option to allow or deny. If denied, there will be an error. If allowed, we'll go down to the network check. If there's no network available, there will be an alert displayed letting the user know that no network has been detected. And I tried to make it so that the last saved data would be loaded instead. I realize that in this application that may not be so useful, but there are a variety of other applications that would absolutely be useful for. So if we can connect to the network, we're going to load our UI, and this is basically what the user will see. Gas stations near you. It will give the station's name, its address, the distance from the current location. And remember, this is just a 10-mile radius, because if we did like 50 miles, that would be a lot of data. The distance, the city that it's located in, and then prices for regular, premium, and diesel fuel. So that's that. Now I'll go over to the code. So I'm just going to go through this really quick. Most of it worked out really well. So over here we've got our cloud login. If we can log in, great. We'll go on to the geolocation. If not, there's going to be an error. Geolocation, we would like to use your location information. Again, if allowed, great, we'll move on to the network check, otherwise there will be an error. That goes without saying. Network check, I've got a console logged so that if there is indeed a network, it'll be network found will be displayed. And then if there's no network, we'll be alerted and we'll try to load information from the database. And over here, I've got my, using the geolocation, latitude and longitude to determine our location, to find those gas stations within the 10-mile radius. My HTTP client. I had to stringify the JSON information before I could parse it for this particular API. I was getting strange errors before I did that. Got my for loop to run through the JSON data. Again, getting the station name, its address, distance, city, and then the 3 different prices. Alert for an error connecting to the HTTP client, and then sending out the XHR data and exporting the API. Excuse me. So here I've got a save function to save the data from the API into a table. So here I've created my table, a for loop to go through the JSON data, to insert it into the table itself. Again, there's going to be multiple gas stations, so I've got to loop through it. And then I've got a read function, so that we can access excuse me, access the data whether or not we've got a network. And this is where I had a little issue. So my window and my first few views show just fine. So I'm not really sure where I went wrong here in my build UI function. I've got the for loop up here to go through that gas data, but nothing will show. Kind of at a loss for what to do at this point. So I'll go ahead and run it. So I'll try with my iPad. Alright. And this is the error that I get when I attempt to run it on my iPad. It's telling me to sign up for the iOS developer program, so I really don't know what to do at this point. I've tried to follow their directions, but it leads me in circles. That's kind of a lost cause at this point. I will figure it out eventually. But run it on the iPad 2 Air, the emulator. In retrospect, I probably should have just turned this into a very simple table. This takes so long to load. My apologies. Alright, so asking to access my data. This was actually supposed to be the accelerator splash page. It probably shouldn't have required the UI in the apps file. It will allow. Not sure why that's doing that at this point, but I wasn't getting that error earlier. But as I said, I know this isn't the prettiest picture, but none of my UI data will show right here. That's the iPad simulator. I'm trying to go ahead and use the Android. And down here, console log information. So yeah, as I said, I'm not really sure why that isn't working. the build UI function, I'm not really too sure where I went wrong there. I'm going to keep working on it. I know this is supposed to be the final form, but I'd like to make any improvements I possibly can. I'm not sure why this is loading now. Oh, it's figures. Let's see if I can... That's a different... Android. I'm not really sure what's going on there. Goodness. Apologize for this being so lengthy. As far as my flow chart, how I had originally written it out is not the way that I ended up coding the app. I think I had way too many big ideas to start. I had to do a lot of editing to my small planning document as well. I was thinking way too big, and unfortunately, I did not have time to go through and edit my flow chart to follow, to actually pair with the coding that I actually did. I'm just going to stop this because it's taking way too long. My computer is getting really, really hot right now. Yeah, so that's my app. I'm upset that the build UI function wasn't functioning properly. As I said, I'm going to try and work on that. Hopefully I can get something to show there. Again, it's not really too much to critique or to give feedback on. I mean, feel free to go through the code there and give me any suggestions as to what it is that I may have done wrong or missed there, that's causing the important information in the UI to be left out. I hope you all have a good night. I hope everybody did a whole lot better than I did, because this hasn't worked out the way I'd planned. It's a little disheartening, but you know, it happens, and just gotta learn from it. But I hope everyone has a great night, and I look forward to seeing what everybody else has come up with, and I'm sure there will be some really great stuff to look at and get some inspiration from too. I feel like I had a little bit of an issue with figuring out exactly what I wanted to do, especially because of my difficulties over the past 2 weeks. I didn't want to dive into something that I wasn't going to be able to do anything at all with. But again, have a great night, and I look forward to hearing your responses and hopefully some good advice as to what I should do to move in the right direction. So everybody take care. Have a great night.